morning. Wow. It is such a thrill for me to join Sarah, David, to open Wide for Wonder 2016. And having attended this event before, and last night met many of the speakers who you'll hear from over the next 2 days, I am absolutely confident you are in for an awe-inspiring experience. I'd like to particularly welcome the many valued clients and the exceptional people from business and private banking, the division that I have the absolute privilege of leading at the Commonwealth Bank. Today will be different. It will encourage you to stretch your thinking, but you're not going to experience the normal stress and pressure of your daily work and lives. And I really encourage you to step back and absorb and think about new ways of working and driving innovation in your business. So let me start by asking the question, why has innovation become the buzzword of the decade, and does it even matter? Innovation is all around us in the discussion and dialogue. If you type innovation into Google, it'll bring up more than 500 million page views. There are more than 7 million YouTube videos on the topic, 2,000 TED Talks, and 8,000 articles on the Harvard Business Review. And we hear it bandied around constantly by politicians, business leaders, consultants, journalists. Yet with all that hype, all that free advice, all of the case studies on highly innovative businesses, why is it that innovation remains so misunderstood, such an elusive concept, and frankly, so far out of reach for far too many Australian businesses? So Commonwealth Bank is releasing some research today, and it identified that whilst over 80% of businesses, small and large, believe that they're innovating, less than half of them in fact are, when assessed against a globally recognised definition that recognises innovation as something new or significantly different in 4 areas: products and services, operational processes, organisational methods, and marketing practices. But for those organisations that are moving up that curve and delivering true innovation, the value to their business is enormous. On average, $400,000 in uplifted revenue or reduced costs. And if you extrapolated that across all of the businesses, that's $69 billion of value to the economy. Now, I can't see you, but I can hear you kind of thinking about now, why am I going to listen to a senior banking executive educate us about innovation? And let me tell you, the innovation gene skipped a generation and passed me by. Whilst I was born into a very passionate, creative, musical and artistic family, and my sisters and brothers were out kind of doing art and music and breaking the rules and testing boundaries, I was very much into maths and computers and science, and I was the conservative, well-behaved child. But what I have developed over more than 2 decades is an absolute passion for observing, consulting, working for, and helping businesses to innovate. And if I kind of bubble all of that experience, all the research, all the data that the Commonwealth Bank has into one simple idea, it would be that innovation starts with asking questions. And David touched on it, that concept of being curious. There's a book that I really enjoyed reading called A More Beautiful Question: The Art of Inquiry to Spark Breakthrough Thinking and Creative Ideas by Warren Berger. And in it, he identifies that the way to drive innovation is to start asking why, what if, and how. Why do we do it this way? What if there was a better way? How can we make it happen? And there's a great story in the book about Edwin Land. People might not have heard of him. One of the greatest inventors. Back in 1943, he was on holidays in Santa Fe, New Mexico, taking photos. And his precocious 3-year-old daughter looked at him and said, "Why can't I see the photos straight away, Dad?" And being the inquiring mind that he was, he started thinking about it. And his inquiry quickly got to the thought, what if we could put the darkroom inside the back of the camera? What if we could put the darkroom inside the back of the camera? Which got him to start to explore, how could we take the negative film and the positive paper and engineer it into one device and 4 years later, the Polaroid camera was created. But in my role, I have the absolute pleasure of meeting businesses in every corner of this country, in every sector imaginable, family-owned small businesses up to large corporates. And I often find that you experience innovation in places you might not expect it. In fact, one of the most innovative companies that I've come across in the last 12 months is a third, almost fourth generation family business up in far north Queensland that supplies 10% of bananas in Australia. You might be going, where is this going? They supply bananas. But they constantly are asking questions in their business. Two great innovations came from that. They started asking, bananas are so popular, but why don't more kids take them to school? What if we could create a simple, cost-effective way that would make it easy for parents and for kids to take their bananas to school? Which resulted very quickly in a pre-packaged cluster of bananas that's gone gangbusters. And they also asked themselves, what if you could access fresh fruit anywhere, whenever you wanted it, even when the grocery or supermarket was closed? Which resulted in vending machines that they've deployed, particularly in hospitals, where doctors and staff and patients are craving healthy snack foods. So you find innovation in places that you don't always expect it, but it starts with asking questions. And if I think about a more Commonwealth Bank example, I was involved a number of years ago with the innovation Kaching, which was our world-leading mobile banking and payments app. And we started with the question, why is it so damn hard to send payments from one person to another? With all the technology in the world, why is it so hard? What if, without knowing someone's BSB and account number, we could send them money just by knowing something we already know about them, like their email address or their phone number? And that quickly turned into what at the time was a world-leading mobile banking app. But it's not just enough to ask questions. You need to start to then translate that into answers and into actions. And equally important is the culture that you build in your organisation, a culture of inquiry, of experimentation, of risk-taking. And as you can imagine, at the Commonwealth Bank, we're a 105-year-old, previously government-owned institution. So we've had to work very hard to create a culture across the entire breadth and depth of the organisation that's collaborative, that's inclusive, where people are willing to take risks within boundaries and have a go. And when we brought Kaching to market, it was the first time that we didn't go through the normal product development, business case, waterfall delivery process that might have taken 12 months or more from that original design to market. We got a cross-functional group of people together and we said, we've got enough conviction to just do this, to make it happen. And even though we didn't get it right, we delivered features that some customers didn't use and we didn't get all of the technology right. And in fact, 2 years later, we actually abolished it altogether and subsumed the capability into our mobile banking app. But we were prepared to have a go. And that's very much the culture that we're embodying in the Commonwealth Bank. And for those that have had the opportunity to visit our innovation labs in Sydney, in Hong Kong, in London, and roving around the country at the moment, currently in Brisbane, you'll see that we now have capability across our entire organisation to put ourselves in our customers' shoes, to truly understand their pain points, to be innovative in the way that we deliver products and services and drive our operational processes, our marketing methods, and our organisational ways of working. So I come full circle to the question, why is innovation the buzzword of the decade and does it really matter? Well, I contend in the world that we're living in, David touched on it, where there is volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity everywhere, whether that's in the macroeconomy, geopolitics, community and customer expectations changing, and the profound impact technology is having on the world. I contend that those organisations that will prosper and thrive in that uncertainty are those that are prepared to be curious, are prepared to ask questions, challenge the status quo, and to experiment and drive innovation in their business every day. And that for those who do, the opportunities for them, for their families, for the communities that they operate in are enormous. So innovation does matter, but it's also within the reach of all of us. And I encourage all of you, particularly those that are running businesses, to use these 2 days to think about what are the questions that you're going to take back and ask within your business when you get back to the office, and start that process of curiosity and driving innovation. And I know that it is within the reach of all of us, and the impact will be enormous. Thank you, and enjoyed Wired for Wonder 2016.